Well, good evening, and welcome to Wide Awake News. I'm Gary Hendershot, your host for the first hour. We're going to do the segment called the Alternative Energy Hour. And tonight, by special request, the mailbag is just overflowing with requests to hear what traveling Uncle Sterling Allen is doing in his wild and crazy travels around Europe, seeking out new and exciting free energy gizmos to come back and report to us about. So, Sterling Allen, are you there, sir? I think I got all the right buttons hit. I think your audio's live. Just please confirm for me.
Confirm. I am here.
All righty, and you're talking to us from you said Dublin, Ireland. Is that correct?
Yep.
And you're experiencing balmy weather. I mean, it's like South Florida, right?
Had a good rainstorm this morning, and it was not too bad this afternoon after my tour of the Storn facility, I went out to lunch and took a quick beat through town, and then headed back to the hotel to get work done.
Now, what gets a nice boy from Utah off his duff and all the way over to Europe? I mean, what is the attraction to going to Europe? I mean, aren't there enough alternative free energy projects going on right here in the United States to keep a guy interested? Did you? What made you think you had to go all the way to Europe to see something new and exciting?
Well, free energy is a global phenomenon. And if you look at our metrics of where we get our visitors and where the action is, about more than 50% of our visitors come from outside the United States, and a lot of them are from Europe. And that's where a lot of the technologies are as well. I was coming over for the ECAT conference. I was invited by Adolf Schneider, who organized the conference, said he'd cover my hotel and conference costs, and put me up in a really nice hotel next door to the conference center. So all I needed was a plane ticket, and I hit up these guys who are in India who are scouting out technologies for one of the Indian districts, or district isn't the right word, states, I guess you would call it. He came to Salt Lake, visited me 3-4 weeks ago. We became friends, and I hit them up about covering my ticket. And in the spirit of continuing their scouting of looking for technologies that can help the Indian people get a technology that they're not so vulnerable to grid outages, and help them. There are 600 million people without power for several days, long enough to ruin all the food in the fridges and freezers. 600 million is a lot of people, and that was very disruptive to their society. And so the chief minister told the people in Punjab that he would do everything he could to resolve this problem. And they've got hundreds of millions of dollars at their disposal, and hence this gentleman I was talking to came over to the United States to meet me, see what we had there in Salt Lake, and they saw the solid state technology there, talked to Mark Danzy, and had a good conversation. And so anyway, they're paying for this trip, and I'm reporting to them certain things as I find them, and also putting things as I can in our news. Things are happening faster than I can report on them. I've been able to shoot some video and upload some of that. Really exciting things happening.
Now, as far as the
day, there's a major thing.
As far as the video that you've shot, now you do have a YouTube channel where you publish videos, and I've been seeing a few that are related to your travels. Perhaps as a way to do some blatant self-promotion, perhaps you could mention that YouTube channel for folks in the audience who just might be interested enough to fire up YouTube and see some of the videos that you've published. You want to go ahead and do that?
Sure. It's PES Network, where PES stands for Pure Energy Systems. And our news site for our exclusive news stories is PESN. And the best domain name for people to find our top 5 free energies and our daily news, as we cold news from around the internet about exotic free energy technologies, as well as to the stories that we've published, is freeenergynews.com, which forwards you to the home page at pezwiki.com. So freeenergynews.com, freeenergynews.com is the easiest domain name to remember. And there's a link at the top for videos, and it'll take you to our YouTube channel. On that page is a link. So try to keep it fairly well organized. You can get lost pretty easy, though. There's so much information. It's the Wikipedia of free energy.
Well, now I don't want to steal from you time to discuss those things that you've seen in your travels. Can tell you that right now we're probably about 4 minutes from having to take a commercial break. So maybe you could give us a little taste of some of the interesting things you've seen on your travels. Now, first of all, just how long have you been out of the country right now? How long have you been in Europe? And what do you think are some of the highlights of things you've seen while you've been there?
Sure. I've been here since the 9th. I left on the 9th, got here on the left on the 7th. Anyway, the conference, ECAT conference, was a highlight on the 9th and 10th. And then on the 12th through 15th, I was at the university. I have a hard time with the name of the city. It's in Switzerland, as well as the name of the university.
Yeah, I know it's a French name. The university's in Switzerland, but it has a French name. And being a Southern boy, if I tried to pronounce a French name, I probably would not do it justice. How can you do on it?
But it is one of the top universities in the world. It's number 12 behind MIT as number 1 in that area of where in a listing where MIT would be number 1, they're number 12. They have the tokamak reactor there. I did a video on that. And on that campus is a guy who is doing cold fusion. He actually has an lenr-cars.com website, and he's doing a replication project of the Chilani's cold fusion cell. It was on demonstration for several days continuous at the conference down IC Week. National Instruments, NI Week in Austin, Texas, and then ICCF 17 in Korea. They're going to replicate that, and they're going to make kits so the universities can replicate the same technology using the same instrumentation. Whoever wants to do that, be a $25,000 kit, which is a good price tag for what they're getting. He's involved in that. He's right on the campus. I met the vice president of the university. He was like, "Oh, how's it going, Nick?" And old buddies kind of thing. And so it was really good to get that. We can go into that a little bit more later.
Yeah, because I was about to say, I mean, in that one visit, you got to see a tokamak reactor. Now, how many tokamak reactors are there in the world? I mean, there's only a handful of these things. 20. There's 20 in the entire world, and you got to actually sniff one. You were in the same room with one. This is a very rare... We
walked in there. It was kind of cool because the building was closed, and we'd gone to the generator room where they have to actually generate their own power because the grid can't provide enough power to power that thing up. And so they get this big, huge flywheel going and a generator as a battery. And then when they started up this thing, basically the flywheel and the generator keep it going. They've got a diesel generator in there to give them the electricity that they need. We were there talking to the guy.
All right, Sterling, you're going to have to hold that one until after the break. Folks, please do stay tuned until after this brief, blatantly commercial pause. We'll be right back. I'm going to have Mark Dancy on this program next week, so we get your positive approach this week, and next week Mark can come in and blow all your speculation out of the water. Maintain fair and balanced reporting here. Alrighty, that wasn't so bad. I got, wasn't even enough time to take the dog for a decent walk, but we are back. And, Sterling, before we left for the break, you used a shotgun.
Shame on you for encouraging people to not listen to the commercial. That's how these programs get supported, is people going to the
I'll make a pitch for everybody to buy at least one item from every one of our sponsors on the next break. But just before we left on this break, you took a shotgun to us, and you talked about the ECAT conference. You talked about seeing a tokamak. You talked about oh man, you threw so much at us in such a short period of time. Now, first of all,
I tell you, I could spend easily an hour on each one of the days that I've been here, and you would find it very intriguing. So we have to go with the machine gun approach if you want to get the whole thing.
I know, but you got to at least tell people out there who have no idea what the hell an ECAT is, just what was so exciting about going to an ECAT conference.
ECAT is a cold fusion technology that is going commercial, that has been certified by SGS, which is a safety certification unit in Europe, and basically gives the green light to go to install the 1 megawatt cold fusion plant by Andrea Rossi anywhere where SGS is recognized, which is most European countries and others as well. It's kind of like the precursor to a CE. Or a synonymous almost, not identical, but it's the same ballpark. And so people can go to ecat.com, no hyphens involved, ecat.com, and you can order a 1 megawatt power plant for $1.5 million. You put 1/3 down to make the order and 2/3 into escrow. When the unit is demonstrated and built, they get the rest of the 2/3 of your money. If it doesn't demonstrate, you get your 1/3 back.
Cool. So Rossi is selling these 1 megawatt plants with a money back guarantee. I mean, that should take some of the skepticism out of the purchase. I mean, if you just happen to have a spare, if you got a spare $1.5 million laying around, and
Well, I got a call today from a guy who wants to get one for a hotel complex.
Pretty cool. Okay,
1 megawatt for your audience is about as much power as a small locomotive.
Now, just what the hell is a tokamak? I mean, a tokamak. What the heck is it? I know what it is, and I'm excited about the fact that you actually got to be in the same room with a tokamak. I know how rare these things are. I know how unique they are. Only some of the biggest and best universities in the world have access to such a piece of equipment, and you actually got to be in the same room with one. But for those who have no idea what a tokamak is, we should give them a little background on it. Just why are we so excited about the fact that Sterling Allen was in the same room with a tokamak?
It's a $14 billion international project under ITER, where they're trying to replicate hot fusion as an energy source. They've been at it for 40 years. They thought they'd be at over unity within 20. That was 20 years ago. They now think that they'll get it by 2017. That's where you get the same amount of energy out as it takes to run the reaction, and it'll be another probably 10 years before they actually have it commercially viable where you can make electricity. Meanwhile, you've got something that's called an ECAT that can generate electricity much cheaper, generate power, heat in this case, and then you can convert the heat to electricity much, much cheaper using a cold fusion process. It's something that is relatively simple to manufacture, to reproduce. You could put one in your basement. It would be safe. It wouldn't be putting out radiation. You would only have to put radioactive stuff in or out. And so it basically completely renders hot fusion obsolete. And the guy that was demonstrating the tokamak reactor to me has a cold fusion office on campus in the same building as Cisco office and Peugeot, and across the sidewalk from Logitech. They have a technology park there on campus for different companies that are doing research and development. And so we were prognosticating that it wouldn't be too many months before cold fusion will be academically accepted, because once academic world can replicate cold fusion and get rid of the junk science label that they've wrongfully put on it back when it came out in 1989 with Pons and Fleischmann, because they're too lazy to do the experiments right.
So bottom line is, we got this hot fusion technology that they've been working on now for, in excess of 40 years, has yet to actually produce energy, has yet to show a coefficient of
it produces
performance.
energy. They can get the reaction to happen, but they can't do it in a way that they're getting more It takes, this was like a 400 megawatt generator that I was looking at.
Well, bottom line is, so far, the best coefficient of performance that has been generated by a tokamak type reactor after billions of dollars and 40 years of R&D is about 1.02 or thereabouts. Just barely over
That's the best they
unity.
did on a good day for a short period of time, for a few nanoseconds.
And we had people who were at the Rossi ECAT conference, and many in the chat room that were discussing it when I was broadcasting it live, who said that the 2.5 coefficient of performance that Rossi reported for his HotCat device was somehow disappointing. It's an interesting comparison. Needless to say, folks, I hear the music in the background. We're about ready to take a break for another blatant...
And I haven't even started talking about the most exciting thing I've seen so far.
When we come back, Sterling, I give the microphone over to you, and it's your segment to say your piece. Folks, we'll be back in just 3 minutes after this commercial break. All right, folks, and I know every one of you paid a lot of attention to those commercial breaks and are getting your orders together now. Sterling Allen, I promised you this was going to be your segment. I'm going to shut up and give you the floor. I know you've got a lot of items you want to cover.
Well, I don't mind you interrupting. It makes for more interesting dialogue and helps keep me straight and making sure the audience understands what I'm saying. Well, the most exciting thing, I don't know if I can say the most. The most exciting thing that's happened today, I can definitely say that, is my visit to Storn.
All right, now I'm going to have to butt in there on Storn. Now we've heard a lot of promises from Storn over the years. They've shown demonstrations time and again. And, we've had predictions of commercial viability any day, and we ain't seen diddly. So now, please, why is Sterling Allen excited about something coming out of Storn when, over the years, they have been something of a disappointment?
Well, let me tell you this. What I saw today puts them, first of all, into the top 5 easily. The reason they're not number 1 position is because they are 18 months minimum, 3 months max from market. But he showed me the contract and told me the names of 2 of the licensees, and they're focusing on quality, not quantity. We're talking for their electric heater technology that would use 1/5 the amount of electricity that your typical water heater does, and costs about the same amount. So you replace out your water heater for the same cost, or for new installs, same price for the water heater, but it only uses 1/5 the amount of electricity. And the people who are licensed to take this forward and are in process of rolling it out and preparing for its rollout are 2 of the largest share market holders in the world. I would give you the name, and every one of you would recognize at least one of the 2 names. And one in Europe, one in the U.S. And so these guys do not move fast. you and I, we go out to our machine shop. You know, people watch your Smart Scarecrow show, and they can make one in a. It wouldn't be easy because there's some difficult things about it. I asked him the question if the people who were in the Storn forum in the Orbo replication project, if they could make the reactor, and he said if there's anyone there that could make it, and he said no. It's too challenging in terms of what's involved. He didn't go into details of how it works, but it can be manufactured once you know how to do it and have the materials and whatnot put together properly with proper equipment. You can make it for the price of a regular water heater. And so not only are they going to market, but they are going with the major leagues. It's like this isn't their sentiment, and I didn't get this from them at all, but it's almost like they're too good for us now.
Okay, well, I'm going to take the position of being the evil skeptic, and I'm going to say, well, that's really, really cool, and I'm glad you're excited, but I got to see it, man. When are these guys going to have a? I saw
it. I saw their demo.
You saw it. You touched it. You put the
turned it on, and it cranked out warm water like you'd have in a shower. Well, he didn't want to turn it on hot. The thing actually makes superheated steam, and you have to run it through a heat exchanger to get it down to the temperature that you don't want to, so you're not going to be burning people in your home. And so it's very good at what it does. I saw another reactor that was being tested, had been running continuously for 7 months, and I've got that on video. So I'm going to be uploading a video to YouTube. You can see it too. He doesn't want the demonstration to be shown in the video because it's under contract, and the company does not want media coverage of certain elements, and so.
Okay, now as far as the process they're using, I think of Storn. I think about a magnetic motor type arrangement. Are they using a similar process to heat the water, or is this a new technology that they've moved into?
It's a variation of that principle that they came up with. They're actually a fraud security company that was coming up with ways for these teller machines to be able to tell if somebody come up and put some kind of a reader device, so that when people puts in their cards, it reads it and informs the scammers of the credit card numbers and information, so they can use those cards. And they have very tricky ways of basically taking optical measurements and seeing what's before and after shots. When something is modified on the machine, they can inform the local police. The police can show up and get rid of the thing, or possibly pursue whoever put it on there. And this has been deployed, and he took me by a bank downtown Dublin that has one on it. He forgot to stop and show it to me, but he was going to, and he just got distracted when we were going on a brief tour of downtown after we had our conversation interview. So this is a company. He's a very successful businessman. He's very wealthy and knows how to make money. And he says, if I wasn't doing this, he knows how to run a company. He knows how to do a startup. He's done it before. He's surrounded himself with people that love working together. There's 14 people working full time. The office is well appointed. The person has their own room. They have little windows on the room, so you can see in most of them as you're walking by. Say hi. The office room, their conference room is huge, probably 3,000 square feet. Nah, not that big. Maybe 2,000 square feet, but it's big. And I saw their room where they do some of their experimentation. So if they have a fire or a little explosion, it's not going to hurt anybody in a separate building. Took me to that. I put that on film too, so I was able to shoot quite a bit of what I saw. But it's real, and it's going to market, and it's not only going to market.
They're claiming 18 months.
18 months minimum, 3 years max. The contract calls them for them to do it by 3 years, or they lose the contract.
Okay.
And it's going to take, you have to do all the certifications, and a big company, they do not move fast. They have to roll out, get ready for their marketing, how they're going to come up with the promotional materials and to get everything all stockpiled, and there's a lot involved in a major company rolling out millions of products.
Understand.
And so this will be probably it could be the first company that shows up in the market that you always talk about, can I get one at Walmart? They'll do it first, probably.
Well, I'm that kind of guy. I mean, for me, it all becomes real when I can go to the end cap at my local Home Depot, plop down my credit card, walk home with one, plug it in, and have it do some useful work for me. That's I think for most of us, that's how we're going to judge many of these emerging technologies. I mean, obviously, we like to be kept up to date on them. We like to know what progress is being made. But most of us are not the kind who can afford to invest a zillion bucks in some kind of a startup. We're at the other end of the scale. We're the consumers who are hoping to be able to buy one to get useful work out of it. And on that note, I hear that background music. We're going to have to cut away for another commercial break. And in this last 10-minute segment, I'm going to promise Sterling that I'm going to keep my mouth shut and let him finish up his thoughts.
Yeah, for you guys over there on the Smart Scarecrow Network, I'll give you some details that maybe the other audience would appreciate. This is the same technology as the Orbo. As the first things they demonstrated at the waterway place, they had that place rented for 3 months. 1 month before the demo, 1 month for the demo, and 1 month after the demo. They loved it so much. They loved the scenery. It was very expensive for them to get that facility. They had the whole building basically to themselves. We drove by it today as he was telling me about that. Took some pictures. And what it is, they were having, when they went to the solid state version of that rotational system with the magnet motor, when they went solid state, they were having problems with heat, and they were trying to engineer to get rid of the heat. They finally said, well, why don't we just maximize or optimize the heat? And so they went that direction, and they got some people's attention, and the licensee, when they came to the table, $50 million deal that was in the newspaper about a month ago. We put it in our news about the two company of the $50 million contract, $25 million for 2 years each. And when they saw it running, they wanted them to stop the forum and basically not go quiet. They'll still allow media to come in, but they're not pursuing media. They're basically focusing on this one project. So even though this Orbo technology can be applied to millions of applications, they're going to start with just this one segment, water, heat, and steam. The 30, I think, 60 and 100 degree Celsius variants. And they're looking for companies that have at least 30% of the world market share. That's your prerequisite for coming to the table with them. And once they get this to the market and they have the proceeds coming in, they can get back to their love, which is all the different technology applications, and licensing the technology ramp up by manufacturers. Let them come up with the licensing of 1,000 different companies to ramp it up to this or to that. And so basically the forum is put on hold for about 1.5 years until they go to market. And then they'll open that back up again. And one of the first products after that will be a cell phone battery that never has to be recharged.
Where have I heard that one before?
Yeah, the guys in Salt Lake are working on something like that, a completely different approach.
Yeah.
And I'm glad there's not just one company bringing these things out. It's good to have competing technologies and variations on the theme.
Okay, we're back from the break, and I do hope that the audience was kind to those advertisers. Without them, we don't have a show. But I do believe that we're coming into our last segment, so I think it's probably best I just mute my mic and let you take it away, Sterling.
Okay. Just need to apologize. It's pretty late at night here. I'm well adjusted to this time. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I've got a flight at 6 o'clock, so I've got to get up at 4. So I'm looking at a 2-hour night sleep. And then I'm on to back to the previous destination to talk to some more people. Another thing we looked at. Well, let me back on the Storn thing. And you can go to Storn.com. That's STEORN.com is their website. We've got coverage on them. If you Google Storn, I think our website is second after their website. At PezWiki.com, we've got a feature page on them with all the different stories that we've written on them over the years, kind of follow the developments in a linear, historic fashion. You don't get much information on the Storn website right now because they're basically flying under the radar. Not because they don't want attention, it's because the approach they used didn't work. It kind of blew up in their face, and this is their way of recovering by basically focusing on one product and going away from their initial business plan was no one gets any exclusives, and you get 1,000 different companies doing different iterations. Now they're giving exclusives for this particular application with the largest companies in the world in this sector. So they're going straight to the major leagues. They were very happy. The people who came in to test it, they had engineers come in from the companies. It performed as stated. There was no drama involved on that aspect of it. They signed off and said, let's go. So that's very exciting. So rather than starting, after this product goes to market, then they'll go back to the previous business plan idea, which is to do a lot of media splash and get these other 1,000 companies involved to do your applications in electricity production, refrigeration, anything that needs energy. This can be engineered to, including one of the first things they'll tackle is a cell phone battery that will never have to be recharged. I'm guessing that they're kind of tinkering with that right now. Their engineers are fully occupied right now on the heater technology, but this same technology has a lot of different applications and iterations. Another technology I saw is confidential. I can't talk about what it is, but I am going to be doing a story about what it does and what it needs in terms of support. This company is not willing to open source unless, first of all, it's a technology that is so simple that a person in pretty much any town in the world could make one from scrap and off-the-shelf stuff that they have kicking around. So it's a perfect device for open sourcing. Easy to build, cheap to build, provides productive power in a power-dense arrangement. And it's clean, ubiquitous power, don't have to have a fuel source, pulls energy from nature freely. And it would be perfect to open source, but he doesn't believe that the people would support it. And he's put 20 years into this. He doesn't want to piss it away and just have people download the plans, and then he doesn't get anything for it. He's got to pay back the bills of people who have gotten him to this point. And so I made a deal with him. I said, if we come up with $1 million in a crowdfunding manner, will you open source it? He said yes. Going to be meeting with an attorney tomorrow.
Well, I'm sitting here scratching my head. Well, I don't know, maybe on a crowdsourcing thing where, you're not expecting more than, $20 or $50. I mean, 20 or $50, I might, just throw into the hat. But to get somebody big to come to the table, they're going to have to, somebody who is willing to put up thousands, say, they'd want to know what they were getting into.
Well, look at the Tesla Museum crowdfunding thing. In 1 week, they raised over $1 million, and their goal was $850,000.
Well, true.
And we have 1 month to raise $1 million from the time we started to start the crowdfunding thing. And if we don't raise the $1 million in that month, then basically we'll say, look, there's this technology, and it's very interesting. I've been wrong before. You understand that there's some risk here, but this is really good. It's got some good science behind it, and it's especially some good math behind it. This is actually one of the few free energy technologies that modern math already supports. And it's so flippin' simple, but the reason it hasn't been discovered or used before is people automatically think this couldn't possibly work. If it did work, they would have been doing it for 1,000 years. For all of recorded human history, they would have been doing it, and somehow we overlooked this one.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you get it organized and ready to go, and you want to make up a promotional video pitching it, I'll make sure that it gets played out as a segment on a few Scarecrow shows, and see if maybe we can help put the funds together. I mean, we're not asking anybody to risk more than pocket change, right? I mean, we're not expecting anybody to come up with thousands of dollars. What we'd like to do is get thousands of people to each put up what they can afford, maybe $20, maybe $50.
Yeah, this is something that, remember, there's that village in India that was wiped out by recent flash flood. The occupants, most of them lived through. There were 70 people who died, and 80,000 without power. Bridges were torn out. The roads, infrastructure wiped out. So the only way in some places is on a donkey. And a guy sent me an email saying, hey, I've been following your news for 6 years. Do you have something you could help us with? And one of the reasons that I was on this trip was to scout out stuff for them. And this technology I just talked about, if it was open source, they could, from their local junkyard, pull together most of the stuff they need. They wouldn't even need to go bring anything in. They would have everything on hand in one junked car. And somebody who's good at doing cobbling things together could make one of these things and provide power for them.
Fascinating.
That is a little bit of a simplification. That would give you the force, but you need to have a way to harness that, and that would take a little more sophistication. But you could probably also pull some stuff together if you're really clever, get some hydraulics and whatnot. But you could make an energy device in any town in this world, just about.
Well, it's again, the skeptic in me is jumping up and down and screaming. But if the bet is small enough, I might be willing to risk, chump change. If we get enough people interested in risking chump change, we might just get your $1 million.
Yeah. Well, think of it this way. How much money do you spend on a movie on a Friday night? And, if everyone who's listening to this show put up that much money, we would get a lot of money. That would be probably $100,000 right there.
Maybe more.
I think people can handle that much.
So what else you got, Sterling? I mean, frankly, you've left us with something of a cliffhanger there, because now I'm trying to decide, what kind of a widget, you've described, and I think we've got minutes before they chase us off of here. So, it's probably time to start thinking in terms of parting remarks.
Yeah, well, if you want to
summary time.
If you want to track what we're doing, I do have a story at the top right now at PezWiki.com or FreeEnergyNews.com, which is something to the effect of itinerary scouting free energy technologies in Europe. And you can follow us along. I've got kind of the day breakdown of what we've done so far, some of the things we're looking at. one of the next stops will hopefully be A-Coil. They have a electromagnetic over unity system that is supposedly available for sale, and they don't want anyone walking through the door who cannot produce a $1 million bank statement, at least $1 million in the bank, ready to purchase something if they demonstrate something successful. And so I'm waiting for the bank statement from the
My bank statement's in negative numbers, man.
Don't laugh. I've got somebody who said he'd give me one, but he's really busy, so he's a bit preoccupied. But
okay.
That's my ticket in. I can't get in there. They won't even tell me where they're at until I've got that.
That's wild. So you I'm surprised they don't require a certified check. I'll tell you. So
they just want to know that you're not there just to kick the tires. You're there to make a purchase, and you have the ability to do it.
Well, I guess I can understand. The problem is a lot of it comes down to, unless you get your message out there where the guy who's got this $1 million bank statement can hear it, chances are he's not going to come knocking at the door. So I would think that, guys like you and me, they would want to be talking to.
I would guess in this audience there are at least 50 people with that kind of money, and maybe 3 of them that are perking up their ears right now.
Well, yeah, but how do you put the two together? That's the interesting.
Okay. I don't have to have a piece of the action.
I'm not interested in a piece of the action either. Just what I would like to see is that technology on that end cap at Home Depot. That's when it gets exciting for me, because now I've got a chance. Well, folks, we've come to the end of another Alternative Energy Hour. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you got a kick out of the discussion. Hope you supported those sponsors, and I do believe you're going to be treated to Charlie McGrath coming up next. And we're out of here. Y'all have a good evening.